Good Sunday morning to you, sports fans. How are you doing this great Sunday? What is it? It is September. What is today? September the 24th, I believe. We are in our last Sunday in the month of September. Hope everyone is having a good weekend. I am Kendrick, the sports guy with TFG Sports Media, and this is our Sunday sports chat where we chat a bit about what's happening in the world of sports, but mainly we're talking about the NFL week 3. We're entering week 3 of the NFL regular season, and we got a lot going on. But before we get to our NFL talk, make sure you like and subscribe to TFG Sports Media on YouTube, and make sure you like and follow it on Facebook as well, and Kendrick Sports Hustle, my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe and check it out. That's SPORTZ Sports Hustle, HUSTLE. Make sure you check me out over there on YouTube as well as Facebook. Make sure you like and follow it there as well. Again, we're talking NFL. We're gonna talk a little bit of college football. Obviously, we're gonna, you know who we talking about. You know who we talking about. We talking about Coach Prime and those Colorado Buffaloes and that big game at Oregon on yesterday. But again, make sure you like and you share this to all your social media platforms. Make sure you comment so I can shout you out. We can have a conversation. I'd like to know your thoughts on some of the topics we're gonna address. And just like the preacher say on Sunday morning, I'm not gonna be before you very long. It's just gonna be you and I and everybody that jumps in here again. And I also put the link in the comment section if anyone would like to come on and talk about a little bit of some of the topics. You're more than welcome to. You can click that link and I will bring you in and we can chat it up a little bit. But again, make sure you like and subscribe to TFG Sports Media and Kendrick Sports Hustle, both of those on YouTube and on Facebook. So let's go ahead and jump into our topic. We're going to talk college football. You know, we got to talk about Coach Prime and his Colorado Buffaloes on yesterday. I think a lot of people were expecting this team to go undefeated. I knew that they were going to be challenged. I knew I wasn't expecting Coach Prime and Colorado to win every game. But I knew this Oregon team was going to be a challenge for them. And just like I thought, Oregon came and pretty much knocked them in the mouth from the first quarter on, and it was pretty much a wrap. Colorado came into this game as a 20-point underdogs. In my opinion, I thought that was a little high. I was thinking at least 12, 13 points. Well, obviously they had it right. Number 19, Oregon, 6. Oregon, 14. I'm sorry, number 19, Colorado, 6. Number 10, Oregon, 42 was the final score. Oregon moves to 4-0 on the season. That drops Colorado to 3-1. Their only score in this game came in the fourth quarter on a 14-play, 93-yard drive. And that was pretty much the highlight of this game for Colorado. Coach Prime would do in his post-game presser. He basically said they played like hot garbage, and he was correct. They really did. They stunk. They were exposed. You know, there was a couple of things that I had seen prior to this game between TCU and Colorado State. As far as Colorado was concerned, I thought there was two things that were glaring weaknesses that they needed to clean up. They needed to clean up their defensive run game, how to stop the run, and B, they need to clean up their offensive line where they could protect Shedeur a little bit. And both of those things were glaring weaknesses on yesterday. Oregon defense had 7 sacks on Shedeur and numerous double-digit hurries. I mean, he was basically running for his life pretty much back there the whole time. And also the run game. Colorado has not been able to run the football. They only had 40 yards on the ground yesterday, whereas Colorado's defense is giving it up on the ground. Oregon rushed for 240 yards on the ground. So those are the big glaring weaknesses I had been seeing. Again, I saw those in the first 2 games. And I think a lot of people are saying the same thing. So Real Estate Insider, what's up, my brother? Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, it was an old school spanking. You are right, Real Estate Insider. Coach Prime If y'all didn't check it out, I posted some. I did a 3 minute, like in his own words, from his press conference on his post game presser on last night, and he basically said, yeah, they play like hot garbage. Hats off to Oregon. He said they came in, they was prepared, and they hit us in the mouth, and basically that's what happened. Again, I think that expectations were such that we thought that Coach Prime and this team was going to win 10, 11 games, be in a national championship semifinal, something like that. I never thought that. I know this team will go to a bowl game. I think they're good enough to do that. And it just, again, it was an old-fashioned beatdown. I think they needed to get hit in the mouth like that, that happens. They weren't gonna win them. They weren't gonna win all these games. Let's go and be honest. We know Coach Prime, and he knew that. He knew he had a tough task at hand. But think about it. This team only, well, not this team, because this is a totally different team from last year. This team only won one game last year. This Division I football team, Colorado hadn't been a factor in the Pac-12 in years. They've already won 3 games, so he's already exceeded expectations. So it's a project. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You got to give Coach Prime time to get this program where he wants it to be. He got to get he got to recruit some top-notch offensive linemen. I know that's one of the things on his agenda, and he got to get some run stoppers, because that defensive line of linebackers, they couldn't stop a cold yesterday. When your safety, Shiloh Sanders, has 7 total tackles, 5 unassisted, that ain't a good thing at all. So Real Estate said, glad it happened early in the season. Yeah, I'm glad it happened, though, but it doesn't get any easier for them, Real Estate Insider. They got USC coming in to Boulder on Saturday with the reigning Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Caleb Williams. So their schedule doesn't get any easier, and then they have to go to Arizona State after that. And also, the fact of not having Travis Hunter. They play without him. They still got to play with him without him for 2 more games with that lacerated liver that he suffered versus Colorado State last week. So they missing their top defensive back as well as one of their top wide receivers. They won't have him for 2 games. But again, I'm like Real Estate Insider. I'm glad it happened early. They got hit in the mouth, and they got hit in the mouth numerous times. But I think they will learn from this. They'll watch the tape. I'm sure they're going to be watching tape on Monday, and they got to get over it. You just got to put this in the rearview mirror. It's done. That's a wrap. You lost. You 0-1 in the Pac-12 conference now, because that was the opening Pac-12 conference game. But you got to move on to the next. You can't let this linger. Coach Prime going to get these young fellas ready. His coach is going to get these young guys ready. And again, they got to clean up a lot of things, and they got to clean up them penalties. They had 12 penalties yesterday for 105 yards. You're not going to win with 12 penalties. Yes, that's too much. Too many penalties. You're giving the other team those yards, 105 yards. That's, you can't do that. And they lost the time of the possession too. Oregon held the ball roughly almost 12 more minutes than Colorado. What that tells me is that Colorado could not stop the run. Oregon was able to get first down, sustain drives with their run game, mixing it up, and the defense just pretty much got tired. The defense couldn't get Oregon off the field. So there you have it. So again, I don't think all those naysayers and haters, I'm sure they're happy now and said, see, we told you. But y'all ain't told nobody nothing. I mean, come on, let's be real. I think a lot of people expected them not to win this game. So Coach Prime is still confident. He still know this team can do some good things, and he's going to keep these young men focused and ready to go. But again, I think sometimes you need to get hit in the mouth sometimes, so you won't think that your ish don't stink. Let me see. Real Estate Insider says his biggest takeaway was their O-line needs help big time. And that is one of the glaring weaknesses of this team. That their O-line, they can't pass protect. They don't run block very well. And again, and the run game, you can take that. If you have a good run game, you can take some of the pressure off your quarterback. Again, Shadur Sanders was running for his life back there. It was just like it was, Oregon pinned their ears back and just it was all out rush, especially after they got behind. It was 35-0 at halftime. Oregon knew that Colorado wasn't going to be running the ball after that, pretty much. So they could blitz. They could bring blitzes from every which way they could. The offensive line just couldn't handle it. It's a young offensive line, not very big, but again, this is just a bump in the road. Again, their weaknesses were exposed. Watch, believe me, USC was watching this game. They know they're gonna figure out a way to attack Shador because he had passed for almost 1,000 yards in his first two games. He only had 159 yards on yesterday, and most of those yards came in that 14 play 93-yard drive when they finally scored toward the end of the game. So again, number 19, Colorado, only scored 6 points. They dropped to 3-1. Oregon, number 10 ranked. Give them hats off to Dan Lanning and that team. 42-6. They improved to 4-0. Now let's go to Dan Lanning. Let's talk about a comment he made that Coach Prime. Y'all know Coach Prime keeps receipts. Dan Lanning made this comment. He said they're fighting for clicks, and he's talking about Colorado, while we're fighting for wins. That was a comment Dan Lanning said about Colorado and Coach Prime. Well, Coach Prime would say if you didn't get to check out his post-game presser, go to TFG Sports Media, go pull it up. I posted like 3 minutes of Coach Prime's post-game presser. He mentioned that. He said, you know what? I keep receipts. He said, I heard. He said, I heard that. He said, hey, but he also said, if you're going to get us, you better get us now. He said, because once we get this thing rolling, we're going to get this thing rolling. So we're going to see, is this a new rivalry between these two head guys? I don't know. But Dan Lanning said, they playing for clicks, which I don't think they're playing for clicks because they don't have to play for clicks. Coach Prime gets clicks regardless because of who he is. Real Estate Insider says, is it too late to get new transfers? Yeah, it's too late. Yeah, transfer portal is closed. Yeah, that normally doesn't open back up until December. From December to roughly, I want to say March is when the transfer portal is open. So yeah, you can't do anything. And recruiting, and then that's when you start your recruiting. You start your recruiting around December as well. But then the transfer portal opens up in December, and then I think it closes mid-April, I want to say. Something like that. That's a good question, though, Real Estate Insider. A lot of people probably didn't know that. They set. The roster set. Yeah, they can't bring in any help. They can't bring in any help for the troops. So it is what it is at this point. And I'm sure they got their eyes on some offensive linemen. Remember, Coach Prime and Colorado will be in the Big 12 come next season. So his Texas pipeline is really going to open up. Obviously, he's going in Florida because Coach Prime, if you didn't know, he coached in Texas, played for the Cowboys. He coached his sons at Trinity Christian, I believe, in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So he gonna come into Texas and he gonna get some of them big hogs, as they call them, some of these big offensive linemen. And you best believe they're gonna be all right. Again, like I said, head coach Dan Lanning tried to throw some shade at Coach Prime. Coach Prime responded and basically said, if you're going to get me, you better get me now. Because once I start rolling, that's going to be a wrap. So, again, Colorado, again, they got a tough one again next Saturday against USC. And I don't know who Oregon plays next week, but all eyes will be on Boulder, Colorado again next week because we may have two Heisman Trophy candidates going at each other. That's Caleb Williams for USC, reigning Heisman Trophy winner, who's projected to probably be the #1 draft pick, and Shedeur Sanders, who's a Heisman Trophy candidate. Even though this game wasn't one of his best, but he's still a candidate. And will he go to the NFL? He's a junior. He could opt out and leave, but I don't see that happening. So we'll see. We'll go from there. So let's go ahead and move on to the NFL. Let's move on to the big story that came out of Dallas this week. Cowboy fans, are you guys okay? I hope so. Big news Thursday. Breaking news. All-Pro cornerback Trevon Diggs was injured in a one-on-one drill in practice on Thursday. He was seen on crutches. They did an MRI, and the worst fears for the Cowboys came back. He had a torn ACL, I believe it's in the left knee, and he is done for the season. Again, Trevon Diggs was injured in a one-on-one session during Thursday practice, which I'm sure they was doing some cornerback coverage. I don't know exactly what one-on-one session. I'm sure they was just doing some light work. I wouldn't think they would be going all out on Thursday. And he injured that knee, tore ACL. He is out for the season. This is his third year with the Cowboys. His career, he has 18 interceptions in his 3-year career. He had a league-leading 11 in 2021. He signed a 5-year, $97 million extension that could possibly go up to $104 million back in July. He's one of the top-paid cornerbacks in the league and one of the top ball-hawking cornerbacks in the league, too. This is going to be a loss. How big it is, some people downplaying it. I think it's going to be a big loss. But, you know, the thing the Cowboys do have, they have Stephon Gilmore, who they traded for this offseason from the Colts. They got him on the other side. Now, who will they bring in next man up to fill in for Trevon? It's either going to be Deron Bland is what I've been reading, most likely, or it could be Jordan Davis. Jordan Lewis, I'm sorry, not Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis, who is Jordan Davis? That name sounds familiar. No, Jordan Lewis, I'm sorry. It's either going to be Jordan Lewis or Deron Bland. Daron Bland, I'm sorry, that's going to be playing in Diggs' spot. And again, they didn't have much time to figure this thing out. This happened Thursday, and they play today. They go to Arizona. They got the Cardinals, which they should win. That should be, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy win because I don't think there's any such thing as easy wins in the NFL. You just never know. A lot of teams play up or play down to their competition. So the Cowboys can't take Arizona lightly, even though they should beat this team like they beat the Giants. So again, Trevon Diggs, All-Pro, Pro Bowl cornerback for the Cowboys, is done for the year. And those ACL injuries, as far as recovery time, it just kind of depends on the athlete. Some come back quicker than others. I remember when Adrian Peterson tore his ACL, I think he came back within 8 months, 9 months, and it was he came back pretty fast. And matter of fact, not only did he come back pretty fast, he also, I believe, won the NFL, was the MVP that season and rushed for 2,000 yards after tearing his ACL. So again, Trevon Diggs, big loss for the Cowboys. That defense has been balling out, as we all know. I mean, they've only given up 10 points so far, 10 points to the Jets and none to the Giants in the first week. That pass rush has been relentless. But again, losing that guy on the back end is definitely a big loss anytime you lose an all-pro cornerback like that. But again, I think the Cowboys would be okay. Again, in sports, it's just the next man up. That's all you can do, next man up. So we'll see what happens from there. Now, let's talk about, we got NFL coming up, noon kickoffs coming up. We're going to move on to that. We got some undefeated teams. Will they stay undefeated? We got some teams that haven't won yet. Will they win? Will they finally get their first win in week 3? We will see. We will see. Now, our noon kickoff games, as you can see scrolling, I just dropped something. Y'all bear with me. We got a lot of noon kickoff games. Most of the games are in the noon window. As you can see, that's scrolling at the bottom of your screen. We got the Titans at the Browns. We got the Falcons at the Lions. The Saints at the Packers. My Packers coming off that bad loss to the Falcons last week. We got the Broncos at the Dolphins. We got the Chargers at the Vikings. The Patriots at the Jets. The Bills at the Commanders, who's a surprising 2-0, by the way. The Commanders, who would have thought it? The Texans at the Jaguars. Colts at Ravens. And then our late window games, 3:05 p.m., we got the Panthers at Seahawks, by the way. The Panthers' number 1 draft pick quarterback will not play. Andy Dalton will get the start for Bryce Young. He has some sort of injury, I don't know, but I think he's out for 2 weeks. So Andy Dalton will get the start for the Panthers. Then the 3:25 kickoffs, we got the Bears at the Chiefs. And then we got the Cowboys at the Cardinals. Speaking of Chiefs, two-time Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP, two-time regular season MVP. Patrick Mahomes got paid, I believe, this week. He got that big extension that's going to guarantee him $210.5 million over the next 4 years, and that's the NFL. That's the richest contract in NFL history in over 4 years. So the Chiefs will be hosting the Bears at 3:25. And again, as I said just a minute ago, the Cowboys are at the Arizona Cardinals, and that's a 3:25 p.m. kickoff as well. And then the Sunday night game, we got, I believe, the Steelers at the Raiders. So we got quite a bit, games as far as games that intrigue me. I think in the early window, the noon games that intrigue me is, I'll be honest with you, the Broncos at the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins is going to blow this team out. I think Sean Payton didn't know what he was stepping into when he took over as the head man in Denver. And I would say this, the Denver Broncos, they're not even the best team in the state of Colorado. I would say the Colorado Buffaloes and Colorado State Rams probably are better than the Denver Broncos at this point. They definitely ain't getting the hype that Colorado was getting, but I think the Dolphins, they're setting themselves up to make a nice little run if they can stay healthy. If Tua has, I'll be honest with you, I didn't see him as being that great of an NFL quarterback. He's kind of changed my opinion of his play. If they can keep him upright and stay away from the concussions. He's had a couple of those already early in his career, and those could be career changing. I mean, so we're going to see what happens with that. I think that's a intriguing game. Obviously, Saints and Packers. I'm a Packer guy. Jordan Love, he looked average last week against the Falcons. Again, and someone asked me what I thought. I was like, well, I don't have no big expectations for him. He's going to be up and down, which I'm not, this is his first year as a starter, so I'm not expecting him to be balling all out every game. I will hope that they can lean on that run game a little bit better. I think Aaron Jones is going to be back today. A.J. Dillon didn't do much last week, we had a couple of offensive linemen out last week too, so that didn't help either. So the Saints are 2-0, so they're feeling good about themselves. So that's going to be another game to watch. Patriots at the Jets. Zach Wilson's, after he didn't have a bad game, he wasn't nothing. The Dallas defense they just made him look pedestrian. It wasn't another, he did the best he could against that pass rush, and Michael Parsons is just a beast. But will the Patriots, with the Jets hanging in there with Zach Wilson? This is a big AFC East game, Patriots at the Jets, so we'll see what happens with that. And, Bills at the Commanders, that's another one. The Commanders are 2-0. Eric Bieniemy has taken over as offensive coordinator, assistant head coach there, and he's been doing a pretty decent job with that Commanders team. Sam Howell at the leadership role, giving him a little bit of play calling, opening it up for Sam Howell. Something I read earlier, allowing him to make calls at the line, do different things. So we'll see what happens with the Bills. I'm picking the Bills to beat them. I think the Commanders are better, but I still think the Commanders will commander. Texans at Jaguars. That's another divisional game, AFC South. CJ Stroud, I hadn't really watched him. I'm going to try to peek in and see how he looks. I know the Texans offensive line down there is kind of piecemeal together, so that doesn't help a rookie quarterback. So we'll see what happens with him. Then we got the Colts at the Ravens. Ravens are 2-0 as well. Colts, Anthony Richardson, rookie quarterback. He's looked, average. He's just like a rookie. So that's the last noon game that I think I'll peek in on that one as well. And obviously, I'm going to be peeking in at the Bears and Chiefs, that late game, and the Cowboys at the Cardinals. Now, the NFL's undefeated teams. We have, how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We still have 9 undefeated teams going into week 3. We got the Dolphins, the Ravens, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Commanders, the Falcons, the Saints, the Buccaneers and the Niners, who are 3-0, who played this past Thursday. And I think the Niners if I had to call who's the best team in the league right now, I would say the Niners. I think they are the best team in the NFL right now, followed by the Cowboys, followed by the Eagles. And then I throw the Dolphins in there, and I throw the Ravens in there. I think those are the 5 best teams in the league right now. Will they stay undefeated? Which one of these undefeated teams will get their first loss today? If I had to bank on it, I would say, I would say the I would say the Buccaneers probably will be the team to get their first loss today. Well, do they? No, they don't play. They play. What are the Buccaneers? No, they don't play till Monday night. That's right. The Bucks do not play until Monday night. But of all of the undefeated teams at this point, I would say I think the Buccaneers will be the one to get their first loss out of all these teams that I just named that are undefeated. So I'd like to know what you guys think. Which one of these undefeated teams will get their first loss? Yeah, the Eagles at the Bucks. Yeah, so yeah, I think they would be the one that would get their first loss. The real estate insider. He says he's feeling 92, 93, 95 energy. Here we go. I was waiting to see you feeling that energy. It's been a long time, brother. That energy has been packed away somewhere. It's been stored in the outhouse because that energy has not been around. But I hear you. You should feel that way. But it's still early. It's still early. We're only in week 3. We still got 14 more weeks to go. Hey, I will always tell a fan, you're supposed to feel that way about your team. Unless you're supposed to feel that way, regardless of what you've done previously. You always feel like, hey, my team has a shot at the Super Bowl, except the Chicago Bears. And I only say that because I'm a Packer guy and I cannot stand the Chicago Bears. I think they're a dumpster fire. And anyway, so there you have it. But my guy, Real Estate Insider, say he's feeling Super Bowl energy in D-Town. We're gonna see. Again, it's still early. It's still early. We don't need to be making those Super Bowl predictions at this point, and I'm not going to do that. The Real Estate Insider says the 49ers and Cowboys at the top of their game. I will agree with that. I think those two teams are at the top of their game, and I have to throw the Dolphins in there too. I think the Dolphins are at the top of their game as well. If you haven't checked them out. They've been balling out. So, but again, 49ers, Cowboys, my top 5 right now: 49ers, Cowboys, Eagles, the Dolphins, and who else? Mm, mm, I'm gonna go with the Bills, even though they've lost. I think the Bills. I think they're gonna get themselves together, and I think they're gonna be all right. So again, big Sunday games coming down. Like I say, most of the games are in the early window. The noon games, as you can see in the ticker. I'd like to know what you guys think. Who you picks, who you got. Make sure you leave that in the comment section, and we'll talk about it, and we'll see what's going to happen. Now, we're going to get to our last story before we get out of here. And this one, I don't know if you guys been keeping up with the Stephen A. Smith and T.O. fiasco, but these two guys, uh, I ain't gonna say it's gotten ugly, but I wish this hadn't got this far. And I have my opinion on these whole sports opinionists, journalists, whatever you want to call them calling out, getting personal and stuff. Real Estate Insider says, I was going to say the Bills too. Definitely wasn't 90s energy, laughing out loud. Hey, I know I got DJ Sullivan will feel some type of way with you saying that, the Real Estate Insider. He's a big Bills fan too. I know he's feeling some type of way because I know the 90s was not good for Bills fans at all. Because of, going to 4 straight Super Bowls and not being able to win any of them. So I know he's gonna feel some type of way. Well, now let's talk about this T.O. Stephen A. Smith beef. Well, it all started, if you don't know, just give you backstory. Stephen A was on the Joe Budden podcast. Joe Budden was asking Stephen A about Max Kellerman, who was his co-host for a few after Skip Bayless left First Take. Max Kellerman became Stephen A's co-host on First Take for roughly 5-6 years. And basically Stephen A basically told Joe Budden he did not like working with Max Kellerman. He said the chemistry just didn't mesh, and he wanted him out of there. Basically, and he was, in my opinion, Stephen A went too far. He's slandering this man. This man hadn't said anything since he was let go. So he's been fired. By the way, Max Kellerman was part of the layoffs, the firing that happened back in June. Anyway, so that was that. Well, someone tweeted a segment from 2019 when T.O. was on the show with Stephen A. and Kellerman, and they were going back and forth talking about the Colin Kaepernick kneeling situation, and they was going on, and T.O. made a comment and told Stephen A. like, you know what, man, Max Kellerman is more black than you, yada, yada, yada. Well, that particular clip, someone retweeted that clip, and T.O. was getting at it on it, and he saw the clip, and he responded to the tweet, facts. T.O. didn't retweet it. Someone else retweeted it. Well, Stephen A. saw that T.O. said facts on that clip, and he went in on T.O. talking about he couldn't stand his pathetic, he called him pathetic A, yada, yada, yada. They went back and forth on social media. They was going at it. So this past Monday, Stephen A. came on his show with these stack of papers talking about he got all this intel from NFL people, GMs, friends, yada, 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 that he was going to expose T.O. on some stuff allegedly that he had some intel on. And so at this point, when I saw this, I'm like, okay, Stephen A. now you going too far, man. First of all, you misinterpreted T.O.'s response to that tweet. Actually, he didn't even tweet it. He actually responded to someone that else tweeted it, and he just hit facts. But my thing is, this is my thing with these sports opinionists, specifically Stephen A. He likes to come across as being a big bully, of like he's the Don, like he knows a whole lot of people, and he can make your life miserable, or he's always going at black athletes. A lot of people say that, and I try to keep away from that race thing. But if you watch Stephen A., a lot of times he does go more hard at the black athletes than he does the white athletes. He did go in a little bit on Aaron Rodgers about the line about the vaccine, the vaccine, but he didn't go in like he goes in on everybody. Like Kyrie, he went in on Kyrie. He goes in on the black athletes, and now I'm beginning to open my eyes and see, like, yo, he does seem to go harder at the brothers than he do the white brothers. And then people getting tired of it. So T.O., he decided to he went on the Up in Smoke, all the Smoke podcast with Steven Jackson and what's pretty Matt Barnes. He was on there, and I watched the clip, and T.O. just said, like, look, just keep that same energy when you see me. He said, look, I ain't talking about no violence. He said, but he said, my thing is, Stephen A. put this narrative out here that I was broke, and he's got these things that he said he's going to expose. He said, now you've made people look at me funny, And he said, no, do I have the money that I once had? No, because I had people that had stole money from me that I trusted as financial advisors. He said, but I ain't out here broke, out here looking for money, or this, trying to, gain attention like that. He said, I just got a problem with Stephen A. With his platform. He goes in hard on the brothers, but he doesn't go in hard on anybody else. And so he spoke his piece. If you haven't seen that clip, if you haven't saw T.O.'s, it's a 15-minute segment, go to TFG Sports Media on Facebook. Go check it out. I posted it there. I watched it on yesterday. So, you wish that these brothers could hammer this out. outside of social media, but that's the way to go now. For some reason, social media is where everybody want to go have their little beef, because guess what? It's the views and clicks. It's going to get people watching. And a lot of YouTube content creators, they like to, that's how they create their content. Personally, if you watch my stuff, you rarely see me do segments on beef like this between sports journalists or whatever. But you have to mention it because it's part of the news. But I wish we would get back to more of talking about sports than talking about sports opinions. Because most of the time now, all I'm seeing is it's something about Stephen A. It's something about Jason Whitlock, and I hate to mention his name because he's a clown. It's something about Shannon Sharp. It's something about Skip Bayless. It's something about Pat McAfee. Can we just talk more about sports and what's going on in the sports world, about, this and that? But again, I get it. This is it's still part of the sports talk. But this beef and stuff, man, I just think it's gotten to a point where it's gotten old and played out. But again, now these athletes have their own platforms where they can speak out against these sports announcers. I wish we could get back to the Stuart Scotts, back to that era where the guys just went on and reported sports, that type thing. So it is what it is. You adapt and you figure it out. But these two, I don't see them ever being friends. Again, I think this is a wrap. And sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes it ain't, that relationship ends. It ain't meant to be, it ain't meant to be fixed. So I get it. Some relationships go that way. So there you have it. I'd like to know what you guys think about this T.O. and Stephen A. Smith beef and other beefs. What you think about people covering sports opinion as beefs, the beefs that we see in the YouTube streets and the Facebook streets, Instagram streets. What do you think about that being the main goal, the main subject sometimes of content creators creating something like that? I'd like to know your thoughts on that. Make sure you leave that in the comment section, and let's talk about it. Let's chat about it. I'd like to know your thoughts. What do you like to see more on when it comes to your coverage of sports from content creators like myself? What do you like to see more? I'd like to know. I'd like to know your thoughts. If you watch this later, rewind it, check it out. Make sure you leave your comments in the comment section, and I want to read your thoughts. So make sure you like and subscribe to this. I want to say thanks for my guy, Real Estate Insider, for popping in. We're about an hour and a half from kickoffs in the NFL. Like to know who you got today, who's your team. Make sure you leave that in there. Make sure if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, TFG Sports Media on YouTube. Make sure you follow it on Facebook, as well as subscribe to Kendrick Sports Hustle on YouTube. That's SportZ HUSTLE. Make sure you follow it and like it on Facebook as well. And we're going to keep giving you the sports highs and the lows, the breaking news, and some of the other stories that you may miss. Oh, by the way, I wanted to make sure you check this out. Just came down about an hour ago. We do know who's the music entertainment for this upcoming Super Bowl. It will be Mr. Usher Raymond. That's right. It was announced that the NFL halftime, the headliner will be Mr. Usher Raymond, straight out of Atlanta. And the Super Bowl this year, I believe, is in Vegas. And that's where he did his residency as well. So he will be the headliner at this year's upcoming Super Bowl in Las Vegas. So I'd like to know your thoughts on that as well. So just, make sure you holler at your boy. Again, I am Kendrick. You can catch me here. Most of the time, I'm going to be doing Sunday Sports Chat, 10 a.m. You can catch me here where we talk about the NFL and whatever happened later on in the week. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you click that notification bell in YouTube to be alerted when we go live and when anytime I'm posting any new content to the channel. So again, you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I am Kendrick, and we will see you on the other side and on the next report. I am out. Peace.